Brian Vickers, 25. I appreciate the push, but
well, that's what you're going to start doing in this part of the race. I mean, you've got 38 laps to go, but you know, you've got friends out there, but you're really going to start using them.
that lead didn't last long, did it? Here comes Junior back on the inside.
These are short-term relationships now, is what
exactly.
you're saying. Burns?
Brian Vickers made just a slight chassis adjustment to help his car. It looks pretty good. The one problem Vickers may have before this race is over is they have to pit once more. He has big trouble getting off of pit lane. First gear lugs large for him. It almost stalled out last time, and he has to use the clutch hard to try to keep that thing from stalling out. Wally, it's tough to get off pit road when you're having problems like that.
Yeah, it really is, and that's where you start. When you start doing things like that, you start hurting the drive line and transmissions and all kinds of good stuff. So yeah, he doesn't want to see pit lane anymore today.
And you think that Jeff Gordon in 24 car not having third gear would miss that gear where he has to make a green flag stop. But I don't think they're going to make a green flag stop. These guys are just trying to find a place to wreck it.
They've done a great job today.
Well, they have. I'm impressed with these guys. They've run side by side, nose to tail, and we haven't seen very much contact.
But
it's not over yet.
We get into that 20-lap, I think, window when things really start getting desperate, especially when those guys back 4 or 5 rows. They want to get to the front. That's when things start getting hairy.
And Dale Earnhardt Jr. talked about that exact thing.
As the race comes down to it, everybody wants to win, so there's really no give. Lots of take, lots of beating and banging. Guys will make moves that they traditionally wouldn't make, out of character moves, what I like to call them. And sometimes, you know, you get out of the car after the race and go, man, what were you thinking? You know, but it was the Daytona 500. You know, you got to do what it takes to win.
It's impossible to underscore what a win in this race means to a Nextel Cup driver.
And it's not just the win. It's the guy that's running 5th wants to run 4th. The guy running 12th wants to run 11th. Every position you can get is valuable.
And Jeff Gordon there in the center, that 24 car, trying to work his way to the front. So they've obviously adjusted on that car, and it's got to be pretty decent because you don't run in the middle here at Daytona if your car's not handling.
Gordon was 13th last time by in that 24 car. How about it, Alan?
Well, Bill, first of all, the transmission has lived. That was Steve Letarte, the crew chief's biggest concern earlier. But remember when they first had the problem, what was it Steve told Jeff? It's early in the race. We've got a long way to go. We've got time to work on it. They've kept working on it, and they're getting back into contention.
Alan, did you say he had 3rd gear now?
Whoa! I said the transmission is held together. That was their concern when they dropped 3rd gear.
I got you.
Now, this is kind of what we saw in the Busch race. You know, when the closer we get to the finish of the race, we start seeing more and more three wide, and you'll see them 3 wide, 8 rows back.
There are 36 cars on the lead lap. The top 35 are separated by less than 6 seconds. So how many cars still have a chance to win this?
Every one of those cars in that picture has a shot at winning this race.
You cannot give up in the Daytona 500. Strong comebacks today by Stewart, Gordon.
And the 12th car, Ryan Newman. I watched him, and we see Junior give the signal to Kurt Busch to go ahead on the inside.
Now teammates run 1st and 2nd. Ryan Newman in the 12, Kurt Busch in the 2, driving for Roger Penske. McMurray helping out the 8.
Yeah, he had the 8 car jacked up. I mean, he gave him a good push, and that's what he needed. But Junior did a good job holding that car straight, because when you hit somebody that hard, you actually take the rear wheels off the racetrack, and the car gets squirrely, and you got to let the guy behind you get off you, come back on the racetrack, and hang on. So see there again, exactly. Did exactly the same thing. Got to make sure you do that on the straightaway, not the corners.
And Jamie had to back up just a little bit to let the 8 car get control, and he's going to lose a couple of spots.
Matt.
Bill, Penske Racing has such a storied history. 13 Indianapolis 500 wins. We told you how Roger Penske has never won the Great American Race. Right now, his 2 cars are 1-2. Newman says the car's a little tight down in 1 and 2, but it is great down in 3 and 4. And that vibration we told you earlier, it's gone away. Dave.
Matt, as we've been watching, the 2-car of Kurt Busch has raced up front nearly all day. And talking with crew chief Roy McCauley this morning, he said, we will race as hard as we can to stay up front all day long. And within the last 40 laps, that is the time to go. Now there's 32 left, Matt.
It will be interesting if we get a green flag final pit stop. In fact, one owner who has a car in the top 10 came on the radio and said to his team, if it was green flag stops all day, the 8 team would have the field a lap down. They have been magnificent on pit road. They are about 5 to 6 laps short of making it, so they are going to have to go. Now the big question, BP and Wally, will it be a gas and go, 2 tires? That's the big question here on pit road.
I think you got to gas and go. I don't think you can shake tires unless your car is really, really bad.
If we're just talking about 6 or 7 laps, we aren't talking about that much gasoline.
Right. You know, another thing about these guys, too, don't forget, there's a lot of guys that are looking at their rides from last year, either in their mirror or in their windshield. And that's something, too, that when a driver changes teams, the last thing he wants to do the first race of the year is get beat by the team he drove for last year.
And the first thing he wants to do is beat that guy.
And you've got a lot of, you got Busch up there, and Casey Mears is up there, Jamie McMurray's up there. We're all kind of looking at each other's rides.
And it looked like a little bit ago that the 8 car was going backwards. And now all of a sudden, 2 laps later, he's going back towards the front again. Talking about the 8 of Dale Earnhardt Jr.
That's Hermie Sadler, the 00. Another Cinderella story here in Daytona this week. Made the race.
But it doesn't look like he's going to finish the race.
He's 36th. He was the last car on the lead lap. He's going to have to limp back to pit road. Really saved his car. Didn't run a lot of the practices. Took care of his equipment. Was hoping to get a good finish here. Last place in this race pays about $250,000. And now Hermie's 36th.
Ooh, there's Jeff Burton. And the 31 car gets a little bit sideways, being in the middle, coming off of turn 4. See,
oh, wow. McMurray gets in that 5 and almost turns him around.
Yeah, it's going to get more and more ugly now as we go. There's going to be a lot less, you know, cooperation with each other. This is going to get pushing and shoving.
Marty.
Yeah, there's more and more of these moments where you go, how do these guys not wreck? McMurray didn't say anything about that last one, but he says that his car is loose, but he's fast, and that's what he wants it to be. He said, quote, I'm way better than these other guys around me. We can beat all of them.
Okay, just show us.
Mark Martin runs back in the 18th spot in the 6 car after leading.
Well, don't forget, he's still on, or did he take 4? Is he still on those 2 tires?
No, I think he took 4 the last time.
Last stop.
Okay.
Marty?
Well, the reason they're back in the pack, Bill, is that they had to pit twice. When they came down pit road, they took on the 4 tires. They didn't get it all the way full with fuel, so they had to come back down pit road and get all the fuel in that they could.
Somebody's smoking back there, and I'm not sure who it is.
I saw that trial just a moment ago. I don't know if
David Stremme, perhaps, but there's a black and yellow car. I've been seeing some smoke coming out of the.
There goes Stremme in the 40. It's Mike Wallace in the 09 in front of Mark Martin in the 6.
There's still smoke. I see smoke coming out of one of those cars.
Could be a tire rub from contact in traffic. Strumme's already got some damage there.
Let's watch the back of the 40 as he goes through the corners when you really see it. See the smoke right there?
Yes.
Definitely smoke coming out of the back of that car.
And that car was running up the track a little bit too. There's Tony Stewart in the 20. 22nd last time by.
But you know what? Tony Stewart still has time to win this race.
Jeff Gordon down low. Going to take the spot away from Dave Blaney in the 22. And that is 4-11 spot.
And he can see the leaders.
Alan?
Benny, I just talked to Steve Letarte, Jeff Gordon's crew chief, and asked him about that transmission being out 3rd gear and how that might impact his final pit stop. He said, just don't look for us to be here long. That's how I'm going to try to make up for it.
But, yeah, I understand. So what you're saying is they'll probably take less than they would normally because they're going to lose that time getting up to speed.
Yeah, that's exactly it, Wally. They're going to try and shorten the time they're on pit road to make up for the time they know they're going to lose by not having 3rd gear coming back up to speed.
Have you been able to get how far they can go, Alan, how short they are?
Most of these guys are going to be somewhere around 6 or 7 laps short. I am seeing a couple guys that are running the calculations again like somebody may try it. Try to go all the way.
Yep, why not?
Yeah.